Hey guys, Brian here from Better Chess Training, and here I have another Endgame study. I think they are great ways to improve your calculation and visualization skills as well as your thought process. So this one is white to play and win. Pause the video. I would say give yourself about 15 minutes, and of course feel free to go further if you think you're on the right track. But then uh, play the video again after that and check out your solution with mine. Okay, well, let's take a look at this position. We can see that uh, we have this passed A pawn, and so that would be one way to win. We also have a G pawn here, so if we can somehow promote one of these pawns, that would probably lead to victory here. So that would be kind of our goal. Now we see here the A pawn is probably the closest and most direct, and there's really nothing in its way except for the fact that this bishop can cover A8 if this C pawn were to move. So somehow, if we can prevent that, that would be ideal. And so we want to take a look at our forcing moves. So some of the candidates you may have considered are A7 and knight to D2, attacking the bishop. And then the other real forcing move here is G6. So let's take a look at those in turn. So here with A7, we can see simply C5, and then this bishop can stop the pawn. For example, knight to D2, and then simply bishop to B7, and black has the advantage because of all these extra pawns. Okay, if we go back, so A7 doesn't work, but is there a way to attack this bishop? And I took a look at knight to D2, and here the bishop can go either to D5, to G2, or to H1. And let's just take a look at the most direct, bishop to D5. And really, I didn't see any way that uh, white can make progress in terms of trying to attack this bishop. For example, if I try something like knight to c4, and of course, if the bishop takes it, then a7 will promote the pawn. But with this study and in chess in general, we cannot assume that our opponent's going to make bad moves. Okay, so here, simply something like c5, and then even if we were to attack again with knight to e3, for example, then simply something like bishop to h1, or bishop to um, c6 would be sufficient, and there's no real um, other forcing moves that will get us close to attacking this bishop. Okay, so finally, we will take a look at g6. Now, uh, here, the idea would maybe be to deflect this bishop. For example, with, of course, bishop takes g6, a7 is winning for white. But again, we don't want to assume that our opponent's going to make the worst moves. Of course, we can't ignore this. For example, if bishop takes f3, then g7 check, and after the king moves, then we promote this pawn. So black cannot ignore the g pawn. So he has to take with the f pawn. F takes g6, and here is the idea. Not only is this forcing move an attempt to deflect the bishop, but it also opens up the g5 square for this knight. And so now we have knight to g5. And here the bishop can go to d5, or to h1, or to g2. So from d5, we now have knight to e6 check. And of course, if black takes with the bishop, then a7 will promote. So black has to move the king. So king to e7. And now here's the point of that whole combination is knight to c5, blockading the c5 pawn. After he takes c5, a7, the a pawn will promote, and that should be sufficient for victory for black. Of course, you can try playing that out, but that is the solution to the problem. I really enjoy these studies. This one in particular was really good because it requires you not only to be able to calculate and visualize several moves ahead, but also to formulate an idea about the winning conditions that you need to solve the problem. And often in your chess games, that's a part of the planning. You need to come up with, well, what do I need to do in order to make my position better? And then the calculation is what gets you there. So I made this is the second study that I'm showing here. And I'm going to do this every couple weeks. And if you want to check out the first one, you can look over here for a video. And down in the description below, I'll have a link to the book that has these studies, or at least a couple of the books that I used when doing this. So check those out, and I'll talk to you soon.